The night shift security guard felt his blood cold as he stared at Monitor 7. The figure moving through the intensive care unit wore the same floral scrubs he had seen being cut away from a lifeless body just hours earlier. His hand trembled as he reached for the phone, but something made him stop. The woman on screen moved with impossible purpose through rooms that should have been sealed. What he witnessed that night would haunt him for the rest of his life, and the footage he captured would become one of the most terrifying pieces of evidence ever recorded in a medical facility. This happened at Sacred Heart Medical Center in Taipei, Taiwan, during the early morning hours of May 14th. Doismu Isechi, the hospital, a 7-story facility built in 1983, had a reputation among staff for strange occurrences on the night shift. But nothing prepared them for what the security cameras would capture that Tuesday morning. Nurse Chun Wei-Lin, 34 years old, with 12 years of dedicated service, had collapsed at the 4th floor nurses station at exactly 11:38 p.m. The timestamp on the security footage shows her falling forward, striking her head against the metal desk before crumpling to the floor in a heap. Her colleagues rushed to her side immediately. Dr. Huang Min, the attending physician, began resuscitation efforts within 45 seconds. They worked on her for 14 minutes, pumping her chest, forcing air into her lungs, injecting epinephrine directly into her heart. Nothing worked. At 11:52 p.m., Dr. Huang pronounced her dead from a massive cerebral hemorrhage. The cause was a congenital brain aneurysm that had ruptured without warning. Her body temperature had already begun to drop. When they finally stopped trying to bring her back, 2 orderlies transported her body to the basement morgue at 12:15 a.m. The elevator security camera captured them wheeling the gurney down, Chun's arm hanging lifelessly off the side, swaying with each movement. They placed her in drawer 17, a refrigerated compartment set to 4 degrees Celsius. The drawer was sealed and locked. Multiple witnesses confirmed that Chun Wei-Lin's physical body remained in that morgue drawer for the entire night. Yet at 2:47 a.m., security camera 8 on the 4th floor, ICU recorded something that should have been impossible. The figure appeared first as a shadow moving past the nurse's station. Night nurse Wu Meiling was sitting at the desk, filling out patient charts when she felt a sudden drop in temperature. Her breath became visible in the air, something that had never happened before, despite the hospital's aging climate control system. She looked up and saw a woman in floral scrubs walking away from her, moving down the hallway toward the patient rooms. The woman's gait was familiar, the slight favor of her left leg from an old injury, the way she held her shoulders back with perfect posture. Wu called out, she asking, "Who was there?" The figure didn't respond or turn around. Security footage shows Wu standing up, following the figure down the hallway. The cameras capture the figure entering room 407, where Mr. Zhang, an 81-year-old patient with end-stage respiratory failure, lay connected to a ventilator. Wu hesitated at the doorway, and in that moment, she recognized the woman leaning over Mr. Zhang's bed. It was Chun Wei-Lin, wearing the same floral scrubs she had died in our street, and ran back to the nurse's station. She grabbed the phone with shaking hands and called security. Guard lured away. The man monitoring the cameras told her to stay where she was. He was already watching Monitor 7 with growing horror. The figure that looked like Chun moved from room to room with methodical precision. She checked for drips, adjusted oxygen masks, and examined patient charts with the exact routine she had performed for over a decade. But there were wrong details, terrible details, that made Louise's stomach turn. The figure cast no reflection in the glass of the medicine cabinet when she passed by it. When she walked through a beam of fluorescent light, her form seemed to flicker and distort, becoming translucent for brief seconds. Most disturbing of all, when she leaned over patients, the cardiac monitors in their rooms would spike erratically, alarm bells triggering, before settling back to normal the moment she moved away. It was as if her very presence caused disruption in the electrical equipment around her. Dr. Huang was called up from the emergency department. He arrived on the 4th floor at 3:05 a.m. to find his nursing staff huddled together at the station, refusing to enter the patient wing. Security footage shows him walking slowly down the hallway, checking each room. When he entered 407, he found Mr. Zhong awake and calm, which was unusual given his deteriorating condition over the past 72 hours. When asked if anyone had been in his room, Mr. Zhong nodded and smiled. He said Nurse Chun had just left. She had fixed his oxygen mask and told him everything would be all right. Dr. Huang felt the hair on his arms stand up. He asked Mr. Zhong to describe the nurse. The elderly patient's description matched Chun Weilin perfectly, down to the small mole on her left cheek and the silver bracelet she always wore on her right wrist. But Dr. Huang had personally signed Chun's death certificate 6 hours earlier. He had closed her eyes with his own hands. He knew with absolute certainty that she was dead, her body cooling in a morgue drawer 3 floors below where they now stood. The security footage continued recording. At 3:22 a.m., the figure appeared again on camera 9 near the medication storage room. This time, another nurse, young intern Li Jiaping, who had just started her shift and didn't know about Chun's death, encountered the figure face to face. Li later told investigators that she had greeted Chun, asking why she was still at work after her shift had ended. The figure turned to look at her, and Li said what she saw made her knees buckle. Chun's face was gray, her lips blue, and her eyes were completely black, no white visible at all. Her skin had the waxy texture of death, and there was a dark purple bruise spreading across her forehead where she had struck the desk when she collapsed. Most horrifying, Chun's mouth didn't move when she spoke, but Li heard her voice clearly, echoing inside her own head rather than through her ears. The words were simple: "I have to finish my rounds." Then the figure turned and walked through the closed door of the medication room, passing through solid wood as if it wasn't there. Li collapsed. She was treated for shock and acute anxiety. She resigned from the hospital 2 days later and left the nursing profession entirely. In her final statement, she said she would never forget the feeling of those black eyes staring at her, or the sensation of hearing a dead woman's voice speaking directly into her mind. She said it felt like ice water being poured through her skull, freezing her thoughts, making her unable to move or scream. The morgue attendant, Mr. Peng, was called to verify that Chun's body remained secure. He descended to the basement with hospital administrator Mrs. Temps and unlocked drawer 17 at 3:45 a.m. Security footage from the morgue shows them pulling open the drawer. Chun Weilin's body was there exactly as it had been placed hours earlier. But something was different. The sheet covering her had been disturbed, pushed down to her waist. Her arms, which had been folded across her chest, now lay at her sides. Most disturbing, her hospital identification badge, which had been pinned to her scrubs, was missing. At 3:58 a.m., the 4th floor cameras captured the figure one final time. She stood at the window at the end of the hallway, looking out over the city as dawn began to break. Nurse Wu, who had been watching from a safe distance with Dr. Huang, said the figure seemed to become more transparent as the light grew stronger. Within minutes, she had faded completely, vanishing like smoke, dissipating in wind. The temperature in the corridor returned to normal. The oppressive feeling that had gripped the floor all night lifted suddenly, leaving the staff exhausted and traumatized. When the morgue drawer was checked again at 6 a.m., Chun's identification badge had reappeared, pinned neatly to her scrubs exactly where it should have been. No one could explain how it had been removed or returned. The drawer had remained locked, the seal unbroken, yet somehow the badge had traveled from the basement morgue to the 4th floor and back again. Hospital security reviewed all footage and found no evidence of any living person entering the morgue during those hours. The most disturbing discovery came when staff checked on the patients Chun's apparition had visited. Every single one showed remarkable improvement. Mr. Jung's oxygen levels had stabilized dramatically. A stroke patient in room 409, who had been unresponsive for 2 days, had regained consciousness. A woman dying from liver failure in room 412 reported that her pain had completely vanished. Medical staff could find no clinical explanation for these sudden improvements. Chun Wei-lin's autopsy revealed that she had likely been suffering from severe headaches 4 weeks before her death. Symptoms of the growing aneurysm. Colleagues recalled that she had mentioned feeling unwell but refused to take time off. She had told fellow nurse Wang that she couldn't abandon her patients, that they needed her, that her duty came before her own comfort. It seemed that not even death could override that sense of obligation. The hospital administration attempted to suppress the security footage, but copies had already been made. Paranormal investigators who analyzed their recordings noted several impossible elements. The figure appeared on multiple cameras simultaneously, suggesting it wasn't a simple misidentification. The transparent effects and passage through solid doors ruled out any living person. The electrical disturbances and temperature drops matched documented patterns in other apparition cases, but the purposeful interaction with patients and environment suggested something more than a residual haunting. Some researchers theorized that Chun's consciousness, unable to accept her sudden death mid-shift, continued her routine through sheer force of will. Others suggested the hospital itself, built on land that had once been a cemetery during the Japanese occupation of Taiwan, might be a place where the barrier between life and death was thin. Whatever the explanation, the footage remains one of the most convincing pieces of paranormal evidence ever captured. The hospital's 4th floor ICU gained a reputation that spread throughout Taipei's medical community. Nurses refused night shift assignments there. Patients who were conscious enough to choose requested different floors. Staff reported ongoing phenomena. The smell of Chan's perfume appearing suddenly, the sound of her footsteps in empty hallways, equipment being moved by invisible hands. One nurse claimed to have felt someone adjusting her collar from behind. Chan's characteristic gesture when helping younger nurses look professional. When she turned around, no one was there. Chun's family held a traditional Buddhist funeral, hoping to help her spirit find peace. Monks performed elaborate ceremonies meant to guide her soul away from earthly attachments. For several weeks afterward, the phenomena at the hospital decreased, but they never stopped entirely. To this day, night shift workers at Sacred Heart Medical Center report seeing a figure in floral scrubs moving through the 4th floor. Eyes eternally devoted to patients she can no longer save. If this story sent chills down your spine, subscribe now, because we dive deep into the most disturbing documented paranormal cases from around the world. Comment below if you believe what the cameras captured that night was real, or if you think there is another explanation. Have you ever experienced something unexplainable during a night shift? The footage exists, the witnesses remain haunted, and somewhere in a Taipei hospital, Chun Wei-lin may still be doing her rounds, trapped between worlds by a dedication stronger than death itself.